Hi, friends. Boundaries can be so difficult to identify and just as difficult to share. Today, I have a Reddit story that really highlights the importance of identifying those boundaries and sharing them with our romantic partners. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. My name is Raquel Perez, and I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Colorado. I specialize in things like relationships, sex therapy, anxiety, and depression. This is where I share my stories and others' stories and what is coming up for me and how my body and mind make sense of the information. I would like to start by reading the story and then sharing what is coming up for me and how my body is making sense and my mind is making sense of the information. The story goes like this. Oh boy, it's been a long week. I jinxed myself by saying, what else could go wrong? I've had my suspicions about my husband cheating, but I never thought it would be this bad. This week was my birthday, and it was already crappy. To end the week, I found multiple fetish accounts he created. He is sending money to hundreds of girls, and yet he couldn't even buy me flowers for my birthday. I will be filing for divorce. We would have been married for 4 years next week. But sadly, our marriage has come to an end. If anyone has words of encouragement about life after divorce, I'd really appreciate it. Update. Thank you all for the love. I've read every comment, and it's comforting to hear that things will get better. I want to add some context because I've seen a few comments saying, quote, he didn't cheat, end quote. In my eyes, purchasing personalized porn, where they say your name, is cheating. He also had conversations with some of them, sharing very personal details, complimenting their photos, and telling them how attractive they were. So, yes, to me, that's cheating. It's emotional cheating, especially when you consider that I begged him for months to love me. I asked for sex, and he refused because he had just pleasured himself. I asked for compliments because he rarely told me I was beautiful. The worst part, when I was overwhelmed by credit card debt and job loss, I had contemplated ending things. He wouldn't even give me $100 to help with a payment, and he'd just watch me cry. Thankfully, I've regained control, but knowing now that his money went to random girls feels like such a betrayal. I've also seen comments asking, quote, what did you do to make him cheat? That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. I loved my partner through sickness and health. I stood by him during panic attacks. I thought of him whenever I went to the store, bringing him small gifts to show he was always on my mind. I drove him everywhere, furnished and bought every piece of furniture in our house, cooked his dinners, cleaned, took care of our pets, and gave him back rubs. The list could go on. I mean, what else could I possibly do to keep someone happy enough to where they wouldn't cheat? Another side note, I know his fetishes, and even though they weren't mine, I tried my best to do what he liked. Ultimately, that wasn't enough. And to be honest, I don't think it would ever have been enough, because he had been on one of the fetish sites for 3 years. Now, when I read the story, some of the stuff that comes up for me are the author's responses to some of the things that their partner was doing, such as the consumption of porn, complimenting others, sharing very personal details, and the money that was spent on these activities. And this, to this person, feels like a betrayal. Now, there might be some of you who agree, and there might be some of you who don't agree. And really, wherever you lie with agreement or disagreement, really is your truth. It is your truth. Because betrayal is defined as a violation of a presumptive contract. Now, it's my view that these contracts that are built in romantic relationships really are shaped and formed by the boundaries of the individuals involved in the relationship and the way that those individuals have agreed to navigate through those boundaries. Now, in this relationship, it seems that there were some boundaries coming up for the author when it came to, again, those activities such as consumption of porn, complimenting others, of their attractiveness, and also the money being spent on these activities. Now, that reminds me of the importance of identifying those boundaries and then taking it a step further and sharing those boundaries. Now, I don't know if that's what has or hasn't happened in this situation, but that's what's coming up for me as I read through this story. Now, when I think about boundaries, I truly feel like it is impossible for any of us to identify all of the boundaries that are going to come up for us during the course of our life, or even at this very moment, in every given situation and circumstance. That's why it's my belief that the conversation of boundaries and the navigation of these contracts that we have when we are in romantic relationships should be something that is fluid. It should be dynamic. It shouldn't be static, because this allows those boundaries as they are coming up for us to be explored and to be shared with our partners. And once we're able to identify, explore, and share those boundaries as they're coming up in a very fluid and dynamic way, it allows us to continue to have conversations, continue to adapt to those boundaries, continue to look at these contracts, these presumptive contracts that we have when we are in romantic relationships, and figure out the way that we want to navigate those relationships, those boundaries, and those contracts. Well, my friend, that is all I have for this video. If you have found it useful or helpful in any way, please hit that like button down below. If it stirred some stuff up inside of you, please drop a comment down below, and so we can start a conversation about that. If you want to see more content like it, please subscribe. Until next time, bye for now.